title of this stream is Shabbat Amnesia. Now, for a lot of my friends, that would mean the period after Shabbat lunch. You've had your cholent, you've had a whiskey or three, and you sort of forget where time is. But that actually is not what I'm talking about, but rather an interesting halachic conundrum that we came across just yesterday in the Talmud Shabbat. And Rav Huna discusses a scenario of somebody who's traveling along in the desert, most probably, and loses track of the days. And he wakes up one morning and is unsure, what day of the week is it? And if he doesn't know if it's a Sunday or a Monday or a Wednesday or a Thursday, then obviously he doesn't know, maybe today is Shabbat. What does he do? How does he follow along an order? And so therefore, there are two opinions in the Talmud. One of them says, if you don't know what you are, start afresh. Count today as being Sunday. Count 6 days, an entire week, and then the 7th day will be Shabbat. 6 and then 1. The other opinion mentioned in the Talmud is no. Count today as day 1. Although you can't start Shabbat in the middle. So tonight you'll bring in at sunset, you'll bring in Shabbat. That will be your Shabbat and then 6 days. So 1 and then the 6. And the basis of this argument is going back to the very first Shabbat. What do we follow? The very beginning of time, the Almighty God had 6 days, 6 days of creation, and then Shabbat. That's the first view. Start counting day 1 and then have your Shabbat. The other view is, let's look at the first person who commemorated Shabbat, Adam and Chava. For them, their first day was Friday. That first night was Shabbat. So they had Shabbat and then 6 days. At the end of the day, the Gemara says that we follow the first opinion, because whilst Adam and Chava, they were the ones that first celebrated Shabbat. Shabbat is because the Almighty runs the world. Because it was on that day that the Almighty rested from all of his work. We're about to have our 9th Shabbat in lockdown. And in fact, we've been here so long that all those weeks ago when we had the first Shabbat, and it was Shabbat Chazak, meaning to say we finished the book of Shemot, we finished Vayakar Pekudei, we said Chazak, 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 be strong and be fortified. Nobody would have guessed that we would now finish the entire book of Vayikra and be saying again on Shabbat, Chazak, Chazak, V'nis Chazak. We've got amnesia. Do you even remember all of the weeks in between? Well, guess what? The halachic decision that the Gemara comes up to is that we don't go according to how Adam and Chava, how they had their first Shabbat, but rather according to how God created the world. And so therefore, the strength, the chazak, v'nis chazak, be strong and be fortified, is because the world runs according to the way the Almighty created it, i.e., first there was 6 days and then there was Shabbat. So if we ever get lost, sync yourself, get back into sync by following the Almighty. We don't have to get lost to do that, but rather if we want to find Shabbat, we want to find menucha, we want to find comfort within our homes, within our lives. If we want to remember who we are, just put your lives in sync with the Almighty. And then please God, Bar Shabbos will come along, and that day which is Kulei Shabbos, the day of Mashiach. Wish you all a good Shabbos and bless you all with the bracha of Chazak, V'nis Chazak. Be strong, and fortify others.